While lawmakers are finishing up an agreement to avoid another government shutdown, but the president has to sign it first. Officials say the number of deadly crashes are going up across the country. We'll tell you about what they're trying to do to stop the climb. And 3 men accused of murdering a man near the Kentucky-Tennessee border will be in court later this week.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:31 on Thursday, February the 14th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for watching Mountain News This Morning. Well, Valentine's Day is going to get off to a windy start, so be ready for that if you're heading out today. But for the majority of the day, we should be able to miss out on a lot of rain. Let's bring in Brandon on the fold, and he'll give us a better breakdown of what to expect on the Day of Love. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning to you, my friend. And yes, we're going to miss out on rain for the most part unless you're out past midnight. If you are, get home, number 2. But again, we're going to see that rain hold off until, number 1 is get home. Number 2, we're going to see the rain hold off until after midnight. Let's take a look at the camera network this morning, starting in McKee in Jackson County. Pretty quiet, but you see the trees blowing there in the distance on the time lapse there. So we're going to continue to see some breezy conditions this morning, of course, creating a little bit of wind chill. Satellite radar, last few hours, clouds back and forth, trying to clear out just a little bit as you head out the door this morning. So no major issues there. Live pinpoint Doppler radar, trying to see a little blue show up, but again, there's not a whole lot of moisture there, but you see a lot of flood warning still active out for the Ohio River, close to Louisville up there and close to Cincinnati, so still hasn't crested just yet. Water still rising there in some areas this morning. We're looking here at home at 30s across parts of the region, most of the region actually. 28 though in London, 27 in Harlan, 26 in Middlesboro, and 25 into Jacksboro, Tennessee. 59 is your forecast time today. Our average is 47 for this time of the year. Record of 71 sit back in 1990. Forecast today, again, more clouds will start to filter in as we get into the afternoon. Some folks could make 60s. That warm air continues to surge in from the south this morning and this afternoon. But overnight, those rain chances will pick up, and they'll be around for parts of your Friday. I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, Congress will vote on a bill today to fund the government before another potential shutdown goes into effect tomorrow night. Late last night, the House introduced an 1,100-page funding bill to avoid another shutdown. The bill includes nearly $1.4 billion for fencing along the Mexican border. That is more than some Democrats had wanted, but far less than the $5.7 billion President Trump had demanded.
I don't want to see a shutdown. Shutdown would be a terrible thing. They'll be looking for landmines because you could have that.
Now, also in the bill, more than $1 billion in other border security programs. That includes funds to hire 1,200 Border Patrol agents, humanitarian aid for detained migrants, and new equipment at ports of entry. Well, it is an alarming trend. Officials say the number of people dying in car crashes in the U.S. is above 40,000 for the 3rd year in a row. While there was a slight drop from 2017 and 2016 when more than 40,200 people were killed, officials with the National Safety Council say the number of deaths are still up 14% from 2015. Some of the biggest mistake drivers made were distracted driving and getting behind the wheel after drinking.
We found that 13% of the drivers we surveyed said in the previous 3 months they had either used medical or recreational marijuana and driven their vehicle. So we know there's a significant...
Now, there was a little bit of encouraging news in the report. The number of traffic deaths declined in Kansas, Maine, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Wyoming. To West Virginia now, where those that could be directly affected by a controversial education bill let lawmakers know that they were standing by and paying attention. Last night outside the state capitol in Charleston, hundreds of teachers and students gathered to make their presence known by hosting a vigil, singing and chanting "All is One."
I feel like they threw in a pay raise in there that we didn't even ask for as teachers to make the public think that we're trying to be greedy, and that's not what it is at all. I would personally, I'm not speaking for all the teachers, but I would rather them keep their pay raise and do away with this bill and chop it up into small pieces.
The Senate passed its version of the bill last week. The House of Delegates is still debating it. It would, among other things, allow charter schools statewide. Well, economists think a bill that would legalize sports betting in Kentucky could generate nearly $20 million a year. The bill would legalize betting on professional and collegiate sports, as well as legalize online poker and fantasy sports. The bill's sponsor, Representative Adard Koning, that thinks it has a good chance at passing. Officials with the Family Foundation say right now the Constitution only allows for state lottery, bingo, and wagering on horse races. Well, school safety has already been named by Kentucky lawmakers as their top priority this year. Now, another group is pushing even harder to protect students. The group Kentucky Youth Advocates spent yesterday in Frankfort pushing for Senate Bill 1. That's the school safety bill that calls for far more resource officers and creating a state school security marshal. Last year, the advocates say their initiatives were backed by 97% of legislators. They are hoping for similar support this year.
We've chopped a lot of wood, but there's a lot more yet to do, and we'll do it. We'll get it done because this is what we're doing. I look at this list, 97% is pretty outstanding.
Now, Kentucky Youth Advocates say they are also calling for tobacco-free schools, as well as juvenile justice and foster care reforms. When Kentucky rolls out its new driver's licenses in the coming weeks, the state's list of registered organ donors could drop. Right now, you have the option to add your name to the donor list every 4 years when you renew your license. But the new real IDs will need to be renewed every 8 years. State officials think that could limit the pool of active organ donors.
About 7,000 to 10,000 people register every single month through their circuit clerk's office. And so we expect that number to be cut in half, just as the audience, the number of people asked, are going to be cut in half.
The first counties will begin offering the new real IDs next month. You can find when your county will have the IDs on our website at WYMT.com. Well, in other news this morning, some coal miners gave the Harlan County Chamber of Commerce an inside look at the success of their company on Wednesday. JRL Coal General Manager John Quintrell says the future for coal in Harlan County and eastern Kentucky is bright. With more than 250 employees, some working for other companies partnered with JRL, workers say they have already distributed 1 million tons of coal and hope to distribute 500,000 more later this year.
We would be not telling the truth if we said that there's going to be some struggles. We feel like there's a lot of opportunity. We've got some contracts that go out 3 and possibly 5 years here pretty soon.
Now, although coal is mostly produced for power generation, Quintrell says industrial and specialty market needs will help companies like JRL survive in eastern Kentucky. Well, 3 men charged with killing a man in Whitley County will appear in court Friday. Here they are. From left to right, Jordan Miracle, along with twins Jamie and James Muse. Investigators found Billy Lawson stabbed multiple times in his game room just outside of Williamsburg. The Muse brothers say they went there to gamble. They claim Miracle is the man who killed Lawson. Miracle chose not to talk with us earlier this week. All 3 face murder, robbery, and tampering with physical evidence charges. Police continue their search for a missing Knox County woman this morning. Deputies say Tammy Ortenzi Smith has not been seen since last Tuesday. She was last seen in Flat Lick. She is described as 45 years old, 5 foot 2 inches tall, with hazel eyes. She has tattoos on both of her arms. If you have any idea where she may be, please call 606-546-3181. Well, this time of year, girls are looking for the dress of their dreams for prom. With high price tags, many cannot afford to go to the dance. That's where places like God's Closet come in to help. But as Garrett Weimer explains, this year they could be a few dresses short.
Pastor Ken and Carol Bolin of Manchester Baptist Church started God's Closet over a decade ago to help families here in need. They've watched as their ministry has expanded, now giving out 51,000 items of clothing each year.
The first week that we opened up, we had one long table and with some clothes on it, and you can see how it's grown.
They also use their ministry to give out prom dresses that otherwise often come with hefty price tags. But their plan to help high school girls say yes to the prom dress hit a snag. when someone stole a number of dresses from a storage closet.
When he rolled the camera back, he saw that it was a truck and 2 people, and they had used a crowbar.
God's Closet has this as a place folks can drop off clothes after hours. The Bolins tell me the worst part about it is if someone needed help, all they had to do was ask. They've been collecting dresses for months, getting them through donations and shopping around at thrift stores. But while the theft may slow them down, it certainly won't stop them.
You know, even though it's a prom, we feel like we're just showing the love of Jesus, you know, that we can just kind of share.
Thankfully, they still have most of their dresses stored at the high school, but they'll need more to make up for those lost and to make their dream of making prom special for everyone a reality. In Clay County, Garrett Weimer, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, if you are interested in donating, you can reach out to Carol at Clay County High School where she works. You can also message them on their Facebook page, Say Yes to the Prom Dress.
NASA is saying goodbye to one of its oldest explorers. I'm Tom Hansen with a look back at the rover Opportunity's discoveries on the Red Planet.
Looking forward to that story. The Day of Love will start out on a sunny note, but don't let a few clouds ruin your plans later. I'll have your full forecast in about 5 minutes.